What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action. Spawning in the bottom of the map in the red color. Playing as Ra. His name is Kimo. His opponent today in the blue color. Playing as Hades. His name is Nullus. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the quarterfinal of the Champions League season number 3, the culmination of 7-8 weeks of gameplay, of games, of tight matches, of destruction, of amazing strategy, of amazing mechanics being put on display. And we are now bringing the players together to finish this tournament off, to crown the champion of season number 3. A little bit of history for you before we get into this matchup. Champions League Season 1 was won by Kimo. Champions League Season 2, I believe Kimo fell to Skadi in the finals. Came second. Champions League Season 3, well, Kimo starts this one off in the 4th spot, in the 4th place of his group, which is a very, very strange place for Kimo to be sitting in. 4th place of his group. Nullus, on the other hand, dominating his group, only dropping one series to, I believe, Rappel in the 1st place. And in all honesty, I was expecting, my prediction was Kimo, number 1, Nullus, number 1, meeting in the finals. We're seeing them meeting 1st round. This is an absolute blockbuster. Does that term work anymore? I mean, with blockbuster being shut, but blockbuster series. I'm excited to see what happens here. Kimo, he looks like he's got a ton of villagers on this food, getting himself the monument to the villagers. Still no house up just yet. He needs to remember to get that one down, or life's going to be very tough for him here. His villager finishing up, and he does send the... Oh, no, he's coming over to build the lumber camp here. Oh, Kimo is forgetting a house here in this game. He's got the house started. The villager moving over. Yeah, he's got 2 villagers on it. So he will be able to get it up. Well, no, he's not. He's going to empower it with the ferret. So he will be able to get it up. No problems here. There is actually a theory that empowering the house is the most useful thing your pharaoh can do. So maybe this is a part of Kimo's game plan, though you really want to empower it with just the 1 villager and the pharaoh. And now Kimo can get his temple up. He's going for a very, very fast advance here, it seems. About a 330 is the aim after all is said and done. Now let's, on the other hand, what's happening in his main base here. We do see the temple coming through here. Rhino finishing up. He's on his secondary hunt over here as well. Town center's on this map. Really nice town center in the middle of the map here. He's got the gazelle nice and close to it. Some hippopotamus over here as well. We do have the Katoskopos scouting around. Going to be looking for looking for the town center and everything else that's on this position. So we do see the Katoskopos checking that one out. The gazelle down here for Kimo and on this position. This town center is really, really nice for Kimo here as he's about to be advancing here. It looks like his temple is a little bit late, getting that 1 extra villager out as well here. As the villagers are going to start moving forward, going to be eating the hippos in the middle of the map, going to the next age here through what has to be Tar here. Does he have himself pickaxe already? No pickaxe, but it will be coming through fairly shortly. You'd have to imagine, as 8 villagers on gold. Very, very standard here, as we do see the Katoskopos being annoying, as a Katoskopos does. As the villagers now going on to the hippopotamus, Nullus just really wants to get that scouting done. And I imagine here is Athena coming through here for Nullus. This is a late advance. Is this on purpose? Nullus with a 5-minute and 15-second advance time here. This isn't something that I'm used to seeing. Normally, the best play for Hades in this sort of a game, in this sort of a matchup, is going to be advancing at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, 4 minutes 39 seconds, or something like that. But in this game, we're seeing a 5-minute 15 advance. Now, I do know that there are some builds where if you go 5 minutes and 15 seconds with Greek, you can drop both your town centers at the same time and have an incredibly economic game. But we'll see how it's going to go, as we do indeed see that Kimo says, no need. No need for that forward town center. No need to play too aggressive for it. He's got the back gazelle here behind this town center, and this is going to be a really, really nice town center for him. He's also got the favor to get himself the Shadoof and everything else. He's got himself the pickaxe. Shadoof can come in. Husbandry can come in. Town center coming down here for Nullus as well here, as he's also ready to jump onto the granary over there as well. And we'll see how it all ends up shaping up. What sort of a strategy Nullus is going to go for here to kind of combat the really big mid-game power spikes that Ra can put out here. It's going to be interesting because, generally speaking, beating the Greek army, quite difficult for a lot of the Egyptian players, especially with the way that the Hades players are playing now. I do think that if Hades does decide to build archers and build Toxotes and things like that, the Greek player, Nullus, I mean, you have to be careful with those archers, right? Because chariot archers can come in and start taking them out quite easily. But the thing is with Ra, is that generally speaking, it can be quite difficult to kind of get in there and get all those chariot archers out, because you build the farms and you do it that way. We're seeing Kimo at this point. He's got himself the Shadoof. He's got himself the plow. He's got himself the armory. Personally here, I think your best bet with Ra, with this much hunt on the map and how safe this map is to not farm in the classical age. The reason being is if you can get a 8-minute heroic age here without putting the resources into Shadoof, without putting the resources into plow, without putting the resources into husbandry, you can save the rain for later in the game, and you can really punish these sorts of 3 town center plays that Hades wants to do. We are seeing the rain coming down. Kimo's economy is going to be through the roof here. 14 farms down, and he's ready to go. One thing that we haven't seen that Nullus has done in this game is Chiron abuse. This gold mine, there's this place right here that the Chiron can just sit on, and Kimo gets away with it. If this is me playing and I'm playing against name any like 1750 plus Hades player, they're putting a Chiron onto this point and causing a lot of problems. But in this situation here, Nullus has decided, instead of getting his Chiron out, instead of doing that, he gets the faster town center, and he is just pumping villagers. He hasn't built Chiron yet, I don't think, which means he's around a villager and a half in front of where he otherwise would have been. As we do see the walls coming out just out of line of sight here of Kimo. This is a nice play from Nullus, sneaking in away from that line of sight. I don't think the villager is spotted here by the watchtower. He's got to be just out of line of sight here, you'd have to expect. Look at the circle is probably hitting around about up to here. So he's just out of line of sight. And that wall's going to come up and be a bit of a problem there for Kimo to deal with. But Kimo's got a really nice gold mine down the bottom of the map. This wall is mostly just to be stopping Kimo from getting himself the market up and all the other good stuff over there. Meanwhile, military buildings starting to come through here, and Nullus starts the production at 8 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. He has delayed this production significantly. Look at the upgrades. Hand axe, pickaxe, getting all those economic upgrades out, really delaying all of the production here. He's going to continue to get these military buildings down. Generally speaking here, a really nice way to play as Greek is to get yourself, when you go for 3 town centers, get yourself up to 10 plus military buildings. That way, when you go for the fights, your units are getting reproduced incredibly fast. As we see the Migdal Stronghold coming up on this position, the Patsukos is out as well, and it might be able to spot this villager getting the walls up. The wall is not quite finished here, as the line of sight coming straight in here. We can't actually see exactly what it is, but the rock flies past, doesn't see the villager, but the villager going to come through here, as it does look like Nullus has not managed to finish that wall off. He's going to try and get it up, as he does start that one. The Migdal Stronghold is up, and it will look like the wall is finished. But the villager sneaks through, and a marker coming up in that corner straight away for Kimo. Meanwhile, over on this position, the Hippocon starting to mass up on this position. Look at the resources. Look at the income here for Nullus. He's only got 4 military buildings down. He's not actually choosing to build those Toxotes just yet, as now they're starting, as the Rock going to be searching around The Rock is searching around to kind of take out some villages and all the other good stuff. That's now the Kalmori moving through here. Searching around to take out some Toxotes and everything else. Where that's concerned, we do see a Locust coming down. A little bit of a low-value Locust. And we also see the Restoration coming in there to save the other villages. I'm incredibly surprised to see Nullus using that there with such... with how few amount of villages are actually there. But he uses the Restoration to combat that Locust, keeping his villages alive nicely. As the Chiron in hot pursuit of the Rock, searching around for something to take down. The Rock, generally speaking, doesn't get a whole lot of value against Hades. Not only does the Town Center get a huge amount of damage done, but also the Chiron here with the speed, the 5.5 speed, going to be able to chase that one down and get rid of it quite simply. As the Hippocon pushing in onto this position here. Kimo decides to pull back. It's the Migdol Stronghold coming up over here. I imagine that Nullus can start targeting down that Pharaoh and putting a stop to this nice marker there from Kimo. Pulling back there. The Pharaoh going to be able to take down that Minotaur as well as the Hippocon streaming in onto this position. Can they beat this this army here at this point as Kimo's got himself the Patsukos, he's got himself the Wadjet, he's got himself the Migdol Stronghold coming up. Nullus at this point wishes he had that Restoration still for that fight, but it looks like Kimo gets out of there. No problems here, and Nullus going to have to pull back as the Cavalry coming in to start taking down some Toxotes and everything else. But Kimo now, 2 Migdols. He's getting set up to grab himself the Town Center. He is behind on the village account as the Patsukos and the Rock do get out of here. Where'd the Chiron end up moving towards? I don't see it anywhere here. Might have moved onto the front. It did move onto the front as the Chiron gets sniped down. The Rock's still searching around trying to find something here. As Nullus pulling back, he's nearly up to full population as Kimo's going to be wanting to grab himself this Town Center. Economic upgrades for Kimo. He's got himself all of the important upgrades here. So trying to take these fights here with the Cavalry darting in onto this position. I do think you want to be waiting on the attack here for the Ra for your heavy upgrades. At this point, grabbing heavy upgrades for Kimo would be very, very helpful. He's about able to get himself the Town Center. Skin of the Rhino going to be coming through as well for Kimo to help out considerably here as the Patsukos doing a lot of damage on these fights as Kimo trying to micro around here as best as he can. As it looks like Nullus, he still can't quite win on that fight here as he pulls back ever so slightly, still trying to pump units out, get himself to that next stage. He's got the resources to advance to the heroic age here. Meanwhile, over here, we do see the walls coming up as Kimo breaks one and Nullus just throws down an extra wall here. As the market's still coming up over here, Kimo needs to send himself some siege over onto this position if he wants to deal with that. As now Kimo's got himself the 3rd Town Center up. Copper Mail Quarry coming through as well for Kimo to push forward. Nullus still at this point hasn't clicked up to the heroic ages. His armory has just come through. He's at 80 villages. He's getting himself all his upgrades. Units still pushing through onto this position. Do we see any upgrades here? No armor here for either player. Kimo, excuse me, he is getting Copper Mail, which is a big, big help. Copper Shield is also a huge help. This is one of the things that Egyptian players need to do against Greek, because if you don't get your armory upgrades early, what it ends up happening is you're just playing into the Greek advantage of rushing Hephaestus out and then finding that economic advantage later. So you definitely need to get your armory upgrades going earlier and forcing fights while your opponent stays on no armor, and you can just have a huge advantage having like bronze shields, bronze mail, bronze weapons. Those kind of upgrades are a big, big help here. But Kimo's still refusing to get himself the upgrades on these units, wanting to rush that Mythic Age out, it seems. We'll see him trying to get to the Mythic Age fairly shortly as we see yet another wall coming up here for Nullus to try and prevent any sort of a trade route from starting. I like the play from Nullus, as Nullus also not starting that mark. Well, he's actually not in the heroic age, just sending the villager already over to drop the market as well. There is a crocodile here that he's got to be careful about, as Osiris has started here. And this is where things get a little bit spicy for the Hades player. Because Son of Osiris, plus the army that Kimo's going to be getting here, he's going to get fortified town centers, all his upgrades are going to be coming through. It's going to be a tough one for him to make it work. But we do see the pressure coming through, and this is kind of a nice timing here from Nullus as heavy cavalry coming through. Do we have any watchtowers up? No, but there is the sun-dried mud brick to help out. As Kimo just says, I'm just going to retreat back and hit some raids over here, trying to take some units out. Nice play here to get those villager kills as Nullus has to play defensively to some degree here. As the Manticore coming over here to try and defend this position. Nice raids here, getting a handful of kills. Obviously here, Nullus can just rebuild those villagers if he so chooses. He's at 76, so he can immediately start those again. As we do see a stable coming up on this position as the cavalry coming through. And Nullus is being quite annoying here with those side builds as this game is continuing. Heavy Hippocon is in. We do see heavy chariots is through here for Nullus as Kimo is definitely, he's trying his best here to just hold on against the pressure that Nullus is putting on here. Meanwhile, chariot archers coming up to the top side, can be looking to take down some villagers over there as well. As flood control coming through for Kimo. There's the Son of Osiris in as well. As we do see that Son of Osiris starting to snipe down some units on this position here as the heavy Hippocon going to immediately start targeting that one down. Kimo needs to be pulling that Son of Osiris back here. He does manage to pull it back immediately there as the Pazukos pulling back as well as the Son of Osiris can start getting the fight happening yet again. 80 villagers are out for Kimo with the 6 donkey caravans. Camel caravans here. Mummy coming through as well. Nice pullbacks here from Kimo trying to keep the Son of Osiris in a nice defensive position here. See if Kimo can hold on this fight as well. Is the Ajax going to be able to, well, not the Ajax, but the Chiron going to be able to actually take down the Mummy here. And while Nullus is dropping down in population, he has managed to click up through Hephaestus as well to keep chasing this as the champion chariots are through. Meanwhile, a bunch of idle military over here harassing this dock. He needs to get that sorted as well. Do we see any siege coming out here? No siege coming out just yet by Kimo. He's still trying to push through with these units. He's really got to be paying attention to this kind of thing. That's so much population sitting there idly by as the huge misclick here from Kimo as the Son of Osiris here can start getting targeted down, and it is getting targeted down. Kimo's not paying attention to this. I'm not sure where he's looking as he's going to be losing the Son of Osiris. It's gigantic for Nullus here as Kimo misclicks his army into the Hades army there, and he gets absolutely punished for it for that misstep, and Kimo pulls back as he's getting his champion spearman, and now the long road ahead here for Kimo as he's lost all of that huge pushing power for being Osiris, and Nullus is now mythic age with Hephaestus. He's got units up on this position causing problems. We do see the siege works is in as well. The spearman coming through trying to deal with those Hippocon, but honestly it doesn't work. You can't break through the Hades army with spearmen. I don't care who you are. You can't break through it. The Toxotes are just too strong. And I think the spearmen are important though. You don't use them to break through an army like this. You use them to take out Heliopolis, and the towers with chariot archers are the big help to take down everything else. As the chariots pulling back here. And Nullus is just ready to start breaking through. Forge of Olympus coming in. And here's the problem for Kimo. He's only sitting at copper weapons here, or copper armor here at this moment. He doesn't have his upgrades for copper mail or anything else. Meanwhile, through the top side of the map, we are seeing the siege works. There's still no pressure, no buildings coming out, no units coming out over here, as it looks like Kimo's dealt with that. But can he defend the units pushing through as the Colossus coming in as well? We do see copper weapons, mail, flight control, coinage coming through here as well as Kimo. He's still sitting full population, but he's got units kind of floating all around the map here. Cavalry kind of idly here trying to take down these stables. That's 6 population being used to take out 2 stables on that position there to try and help Kimo stay alive. As the Pharaoh comes in, there's the Mummy to help keep the buildings alive. The Spearmen now can start being utilized to take out the Heliopoli that are going to be moving in. That's the only real good usage for them here. They're not even that amazing at taking out Hippocon here, as we do see Nullus decides he's going to be pulling back ever so slightly, waiting for his armory upgrades to come in. He's about to be having iron shields here. As what is the next kind of pathway, so to speak, for Kimo here to break in and kind of deal with this army, because the army of the Hades is just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger here. And what can Kimo do to keep himself afloat? He's still in a completely fine position, mind you, as he's still getting his armory upgrades. His economy is about to be gigantic. He's at 100 population. For those of you playing at home who want to really kind of learn Age of Mythology to the nth level, one of the big theories about Age of Mythology macro and economy is that you want to first go up to somewhere between 100 and 120 economic units, and then get all of your armory upgrades. And then depending on your god, depending on the matchup, once you've got all the armory upgrades and line upgrades, you bring that civilian unit count back down to around somewhere between 60 and 80 is the general rule. We'll see if Kimo can continue to hold here. He is utilizing the mercenary cavalry nicely, but as he's getting pushed back, can these mercenary cavalry actually manage to keep himself afloat here after all is said and done? Does he have a priest over here? No priest on this side. We do see some military buildings are still up here from Nullus. Kimo's going to have to wall this up fairly shortly. He is trying to set up on that position and deal with that. There's also possibilities for Nullus to utilize the water over here, if he so chooses, to get some transport ships in. We do see a nice little side build coming through here from Nullus right at the bottom here. He's abusing the line of sight that Kimo doesn't have here. There's a crazy big upgrade you can grab, and I do believe that it looks like Nullus has got it already. We can actually check it in a second here, but it's called fire signals or flare signals? Signal fires here. It only costs 150 wood, and if we take a look here, we don't see signal fires in for Nullus either, but it gives you so much more line of sight. Only costs 150 wood. It's so huge, but at this moment here, the big problem for Kimo is chasing the armory upgrades. He can have himself iron shields here, so he's going to be at least dealing with those champion Toxotes fairly well. As the spearman's still coming through here to take out the Heliopolis, you have to micro those chariot archers. So we see some more military buildings coming down here for Kimo to try and defend himself. Villagers moving through onto the top side of the map to start getting some side builds down. We see Nullus dropping archery ranges and everything else over on that side. As Kimo's pulling over here to get docks down. He's making his own transport ship here as well, as the fortress on the back is going to be a scary thing here for Kimo to deal with, as Nullus is continuously pushing through here, but the Heliopolis is getting dealt with nicely. These spearmen are coming in nicely to help out on these defenses, as iron shields are just about to pop here. The siege tower is actually helping out monumentally in this game. We do see, I like this play here actually from Kimo with the watchtowers. He needs to get guard towers, but empowering the watchtower actually helps him defend here nicely. So we do see some raids now coming in onto the trade route, as Kimo hasn't put his walls up just yet. Villagers coming through over here as the Pentaconta comes in. We do see that Nullus has spotted that. But this does slow the game down here quite considerably for Kimo. And Kimo now able to afford Medjai to help his mercenary spam come through. The idea of Medjai here, Medjai doesn't actually make your mercenary cavalry stronger or your mercenary infantry stronger. It just allows them to live for longer. So what you can do with them is we do see a very brutal wall set up here by Nullus to start targeting down this town center. Kimo hasn't quite reacted to it yet. But what Medjai does is it allows the Ra player to start spamming mercenary cavalry from the hometown center here into this main location, and then from this town center you can start making mercenary infantry. That's what Medjai is for. We haven't seen that started just yet by Kimo as he's trying to break through. But look at this, the town center now under pressure. We do see the siege tower ready to be queued up. Kimo hasn't paid attention to it just yet. He's getting a dock down over on this position. The walls were thwarted over here as a fortress coming up for Nullus to defend his trade route and everything else, as the market has been taken down over here, but there's still plenty more markets over, as Nullus trying to sneak through with his villagers to get some towers down on that position as well. As the walls have been cleaned up, the town center is about to fall here. As what can Kimo do? Villagers coming through to put down another dock over on this position. We got 7 gas graffiti out here, and the town center falls as Kimo not paying attention there to that one. He was putting towers up, so he just didn't notice. It was just out of the corner of his eye as the chariot archers come through to try and deal with those gas graffitis. Walls coming up on this position as well. And we also see the towers coming down here to start being annoying onto this trade route. Unfortunately, they don't actually automatically target the camel caravans here, but it does give him a defensive position to stand. It looks like the towers here will be able to clean up the villagers pushing through there onto this position as the Pharaoh now going to be under attack on this location. The heavy hippocon pushing through here as well. It's the iron weapons coming in for Kimo. Architects champion, Axeman coming in as well. Is he starting to train mercenary out? No, he's getting himself architects out of that town center here. He's in a difficult position as more fortresses are coming through. And Nullus's resources are very, very high. Is there any attempt at pushing? Oh, Kimo's going for the Oxy war barges onto this back town center. He doesn't manage to make it work. There is a position here that hits Kimo's town center as well. But it does look like Nullus has defended this one basically immediately here. Nice play here from Nullus to be aware. And in that moment, Kimo does end up tapping out as Nullus just plays a very, very solid and methodical game. Very solid game there from Nullus. Really the only mistake here from Kimo you'd have to expect is that the misclick moving that Son of Osiris forward. Obviously, if Kimo keeps that Son of Osiris alive, he deals a significant amount more damage to the Greek army, which allows him to kind of keep up with the armory upgrades. But in the end here, Nullus, he's just too sneaky. He's getting in, he's getting the walls set up. If Kimo pushes around onto the sides here and tries to get the walls set up over here as well, he could definitely be taking out the town centers and things like that here. But it's a lot of resources to be investing in those situations here, and he just could not make it work in this game. Nullus claims the first game. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.